Welcome to the Dawn Jarvis Show with Dawn Jarvis, the diverse nurse. And in this podcast, we will be talking about healthcare, self-care, diversity, careers, and well-being from a Black woman's perspective. We're really happy that you're here. So if you're ready, let's get on with the show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Dawn Jarvis Show. I'm Dawn Jarvis, the diverse nurse, and in this podcast, I talk about and to busy leaders, professionals, and business owners who are part of my diverse nurse network. I learn about who they are, what they do, and why they do it, and how they prioritize their own health and well-being to stay focused and positive and productive as well. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by the fantastic Soribel Martinez, and we are going to learn how to embrace our sexuality and accelerate our orgasmic experience. We are going to learn how to embrace our sexuality, that you must develop the mindset and confidence in the bedroom that will allow you to accelerate your orgasmic experience, that you must heal your sexual past, negative experience or trauma, and we're going to learn about 3 steps to more orgasms in our lives. Hi, Soribel. How are you?
Hello.
It's so good.
I'm so happy to be here.
So good to see you. How are you doing?
Same here. I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm very, very good and absolutely delighted to see you. I'm going to introduce you properly. So Soribel Martinez is a licensed clinical psychotherapist, sex therapist and coach who helps women embrace their sexuality with confidence so they can have and enjoy more sex, intimacy and sexual pleasure. Oh, and more orgasms. Can't wait for this. So hi, Soribel. I need to know more about you being a sex therapist. You know, what is a sex therapist? Is there an association of sex therapists? Tell me about what you do and how you came to do it. Tell me your story.
Yes, of course. Hi, I am so delighted to be here. Like Dawn said, my name is Soribel Martinez, and I'm a licensed clinical psychotherapist and a sex therapist and coach. And yes, sex therapy is the thing. It is part of the psychotherapy world and the psychotherapy process that happens in therapy and counseling when we're dealing with people who need to heal sexual trauma so they can have a healthy sex life. So listen to this. This is the funniest thing. I've been a therapist for the longest. I got into the mental health field and social service field when I graduated high school. So this is what I've been doing all my life. Like I never had a job at McDonald's. I never had a job at a store, grocery store. I've been working with people with mental illness all my life. Mm-hmm. So in 2011, after I was recuperating from brain surgery, I decided to have a sex toy party in my house with my friends and some of my female, my cousins, and, they came over, we had drink, we had wine, we had some appetizers. And as the woman was presenting all the sex toys and all the lubricants and all the great things, that we can bring into the bedroom to enhance sex, I noticed the conversations among these women.
Yeah.
And the conversations were very limited.
Okay.
It was infused with fear, lack of confidence in the bedroom, a lot of limiting beliefs, ideas, and values that were holding them back from really experiencing an amazing, high, sexy, juicy sex life. So as I'm sitting there and I'm listening to them with all the limitations and talking about all these different things, I say, you know what? I think that my next project is going to be to become a sex therapist.
So I'm loving this. This is good.
I was like, I'm just going to become a sex therapist because I'm going to help you guys have better and more sex because you guys are so boring. What is wrong with you? What are you talking about? You won't suck this, you won't suck that, you embarrassed, you're shy. Girl, we got to work on that. That's exactly what I said to them. So some time passed by and I decided to open a private practice in 2018.
Yeah.
But being sex therapy was in the back of my mind, right? And as I was working as a mental health provider, I was still working with women, helping them, deal with issues with self-confidence and, low self-esteem, sexual trauma, and the mindset around that, and healing, and doing all the great work. So last year, in the beginning of this year, I was like, you know what? This is the time. This is the time for me to branch myself and specialize in sex therapy and coaching so I can help women embrace their sexuality, but with confidence. Because we are missing that part, we need to be confident in what we get to have and enjoy in the bedroom. You see, it's not about having sex. It's not about that.
It isn't about having sex.
No, it's not. It's not just about having sex. That is the least of your problems.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I actually understand that, because it's about a mindset, isn't it? It is.
It's about the mindset and why you give yourself permission and why you allow yourself to enjoy in the bedroom because you want to, because you desire to, and because you feel like that's what you want. Not necessarily, I'm just going to have sex with my partner because I'm married and we've been together for like 50 years and the poor thing needs to have some sex.
Yes. So yeah, we've all been there. We've all been there, and I think there's lots of work that we can all do around that. But how do you embrace your sexuality and develop that mindset and the confidence that will get you there where you need to be?
You see, when I say to people, sex is never about sex, it's about everything else between our ears.
Yeah.
The mind, the brain, that's what it's all about. So for me, how do you embrace your sexuality with confidence? Have everything to do with you having the capacity or giving yourself the permission to heal, not just sex trauma, but negative sexual experiences. I mean, picture a little girl masturbating, exploring her body, and her mom opens the door to her room, and her mom is like, "You are so disgusting. Why are you touching your stuff? You are nasty. Go wash your hands, girl. Go wash your hands." That is not for that. That is to be washed. That is to be taken care of and be put away.
Yeah.
So can you imagine what that message does for the girl who felt that she was doing something that came naturally to her, something that she desired to do, something that was probably relaxing her as some type of way. Completely. Can you relate to that relaxation?
Yeah, absolutely. It feels nice. Yeah.
It feels good, right?
Yeah.
But what you thought that was feeling good and was relaxing you and was releasing a lot of the chemicals in our brain and the hormones that make us feel good and give us that sense of relaxation becomes a message that says sex is bad. You should never enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it creates beliefs and ideas in our mind that what we naturally want to do is bad and we should never allow ourselves to enjoy it and have pleasure. So that's why I always say it's not about sex, because that's the easy part. I can teach you the techniques. I can show you. You can probably look up pornography and learn what it is that you have to do. But what that ends up doing is, if you're not doing the mindset work, is that you end up performing. You end up faking orgasms. You end up faking connection and intimacy with your partner. You end up not allowing yourself to really enjoy pleasure and orgasms. Right?
That's what we're working our way towards, isn't it, Soribel? So how do you accelerate that orgasmic experience?
The first step is always to take responsibility for your sexual pleasure and desires.
Wow.
Make sure that you take responsibility for what you get to enjoy in the bedroom. It is not your partner's responsibility only to bring pleasure to your life, but it is your responsibility to heal the mindset to heal the wounds, to heal the negative messages that we heard about sex and all the taboos, right? In our culture about sex, and take responsibility that if you want more intimacy, you can have more intimacy. If you want to have more sex and enjoy more sex, you can. If you want one orgasm, you can. But if you want to have multiple of them, you also can. But you have to do that through a process of taking responsibility for that pleasure for yourself. And how you do that? You find a coach like me and you work on those issues, those mindset issues that are holding you back from truly experiencing high, sexy, amazing, powerful orgasms, where you don't have to fake it no more. There's no faking here, right?
No.
You get to experience them.
I'm loving this. This is great. So I'm just hearing what you're saying around, you know, sort of like things that may have happened when we were children, you know, society's taboos around sex, around orgasms, even talking about it. I can even feel myself thinking, you know, I'm all in for this conversation, but I'm sort of like, it's not sort of conversation that I have normally. And, you know, it's really, really good. So how do people sort of get over those sort of like cultural taboos, you know, what women do talk about, what they don't talk about, you know, to sort of like release sort of like so they can enjoy, you know, what is a natural act. You know, our bodies were designed for it. So, you know, how do people get to where they need to be around that? And also, you know, if they've had bad experiences, you know, how do they heal their sexual past and their negative experiences or the trauma that they may have, you know, they have, you know, how do they sort of move forward? Because I think it's a bit of a process. It's sort of like, you know, I'm in my 50s. That's a lifetime of conditioning and things around that. You know, what would be your recommendations for that? And, you know, and I know that you're a brilliant coach, you know, but, you know, if people wanted to start that process of doing that work.
Well, the truth is that everything in life is a process. Yeah. There's a process for everything, especially when we have to heal such a serious things that we have experienced. But what I have found that in women is they not only have experienced sexual trauma, which is all by itself is very terrible, and it requires you to take responsibility. And when I say that, let's pause there. I'm not saying fault. It's never your fault that you experience what you experience in your life. Of course, it's not your fault. But as an adult, it's our responsibility to enter that healing process. Because when we heal, we are giving ourselves what? A gift, right? So getting a coach like me or getting a therapist, for that matter, to heal sexual trauma allows you to look at what has happened. What are some of those messages that you have acquired as a child? What have been some of those experiences? And it's not just sexual trauma. Think about that boyfriend that made you feel inadequate. Think about that man that told you that you were not sexy enough. Yeah. Think about the man that tells you that you're too fat or too skinny or too short or too tall or too white or too black or too something. And you internalize that message and it translates into the bedroom. So now when you are in the bedroom with your partner, all you think about is those inadequacy, those messages, that experience that you had in the past. It's what's there in the bedroom. It's not your confidence. It's not your confident self. It's not your sexy self. It's not your best self. It is, oh my God, am I truly like too skinny? Maybe I don't have enough ass. Maybe my boobs are not big enough. Oh my God, maybe that roll over there, like I'm gaining 20 pounds and oh my God, my butt is too big or too little. So in the bedroom, it translates in the here. And sex is not just a physical act, it's a holistic experience. It is your mind, it is your soul, it is your spirit, it is your body, it is your energy. So to start the healing process, we have to take responsibility and really looking at what it is that I need to look at. Honestly, what is it that I need to shift and change and transform and heal for myself so I can get to that point where I show up in the bedroom with confidence, and I get to have whatever it is that I desire, that I want to have in the bedroom. That's what it's all about.
I think that's amazing. That's really good. That's really good advice. And it's sort of so holistic, as you said earlier. I wanted to ask a question which is sort of supplementary, I guess. I was going to ask sort of like, what sort of clients do you have? And the reason that I think it's really good that you're a therapist, and you're a counselor, psychotherapist, and that you've got that background, because I was just thinking about people who've experienced sexual assault, and or had sort of been really conditioned by their religion, or things like that, or may have had unwanted pregnancies or stuff like that. Are they the sort of people, are they more difficult to help, or they're the sort of clients you have, or or would you do something different from them depending on where people are coming from, and particularly around the healing and sort of from the past trauma?
For me, when someone is in the early stages or is still experiencing symptoms because of the sexual assault or sexual trauma, it's always good to first do some psychotherapy work. So you can do some healing, so you can do some work in terms of your psychic, so your mind, and do a lot of the healing work that you have to do in order for you to kind of pass on to another kind of like a process, which is what I do mostly with my coaching clients. So the clients that come to coaching have done the healing
at work,
most of it in the psychotherapy, process. They have done that work, and now they're ready to leave behind in some kind of way, what happened to them, and they're ready to just move forward. And that's what I do. They come to me, they're ready to move forward. They have done some healing work, and they just want to embrace their sexuality without feeling guilty, without feeling ashamed, and do what they have to do to create and develop the mindset that will allow them to show up fully in the bedroom, not just with their partner, but with themselves.
Yeah.
Because sex is not just in partnership, right?
Yeah. That's right, and it could be done alone or with a partner, or
it can be solo.
Partner. Yes, and it could be solo. And I wanted to sort of like go on to, so we talked about what we're going to talk about today. You said that you were going to give us 3 steps to more orgasms in our lives. So I'm waiting with bated breath to hear what those 3
So you already know that the first one is take responsibility for your sexual experiences. Don't leave your life and your experiences at the hands of others. You have to become part of that planning, and you have to become part of that process of getting whatever it is that you desire to have. But here's the problem, though. A lot of women, we don't say yes to our desires. We have to say yes to what we want. And in order to say yes to what you want, you need to know what it is that you want. What is it that you want from that relationship? What is it that you want to truly experience, either solo or with your partner? So getting really clear on what it is that you want to see yourself experience in the bedroom is very important. And saying yes to that desire without feeling ashamed, without feeling guilty, without feeling like you're not good enough, without feeling like you're not worthy, it is the second step. So when I told you that it's not all about this physical act, that's easy. That's easy breezy. The hardest job is the work that I'm talking to you about. Getting in your mindset, getting in your feelings, understanding where you are in life and where it is that you want to be. So the second step really is you have to say yes to your sexual desires. Stop denying yourself what you really, really deserve, because you deserve to have more sex and more intimacy and more pleasure and more orgasms in your life.
I'm loving this. This is very good. Very, very,
very important.
Very good.
Do you want the third step?
I do.
Okay.
I really do.
So So that the third step is going to be like contradictory, because the third step is, yes, don't make an orgasm or multiple orgasm to be the goal of your sexual experience. Allow yourself to relax enough in the sexual process that orgasms, they're just a given. They're just going to happen. They have to happen when you're relaxed, when you're confident, when you know what you want, when you take responsibility, when you communicate your desires to your partner, when you say yes to your sexual desires, and everything is flowing in such a harmony. 1, 2, 3, how many more you want? It doesn't really matter, because at that point, it's not about having an orgasm. At that point, it's about being present.
Yeah, I really like that.
That's what it's all about.
I really like that, actually, because I think the best sexual experiences I've ever had have been when I've been relaxed, and I really hear what you're saying. So not to make orgasm your goal, but to be relaxed in the moment and enjoy it, and then those things will come naturally, won't they? And I suppose the pun was intended, that they will come naturally. But yeah, that really makes it. So that makes sense, because if you're happy and you're whole and you're relaxed and you are present, and you know what you want, and you're in the right place with the right partner, those things will come naturally. I get that.
Yes,
that's good,
because now we are making our mind and our brain, because the brain and the mind are two separate things, right? The mind activates the brain. The brain releases the chemicals and the hormones that we need to feel good and empowered and connected. And then those chemicals and hormones, what it does is activates the body, so the body can do what the body does. So now they're working together to create an amazing sexual experience.
Yes, I love that.
So sex is not always about sex. It's about everything else that is in between your ears, your mind, and your brain.
I'm loving this.
They have to work together.
This is really, really good. Really, 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 really good. So, this is brilliant work. And, this is your formula and your methodology around how you help your clients. And you must be very busy doing that. So I'm just going to ask you, so I ask all my guests, how do you stay focused and positive so that you can do your best work and give your clients your best, but also give yourself your best? Because you've talked a lot about, it's about, being confident in yourself as well as everything else. And I think as women, sometimes we give a lot of ourselves, but we don't, we don't look after ourselves. But so how do you do that? Have you got any tips for us?
More sex, more intimacy, more pleasure, and more
okay. Fair enough. I think,
the truth is that for us, we need to start changing our mindset and shifting the belief around what self-care is. And having amazing orgasm and connections with other humans and pleasure in your life increases your well-being, and your mental health gets to a better place. Why? Because when you release all those hormones and those chemicals, they help you feel better. So it decreases depression, it decreases anxiety, and increases happiness, and increases your ability to have a better life overall. Have you ever worked with someone that's always cranky?
Yes, I have.
Ask them, when was the last time they got some?
I would love to do that. I'm a British person. I'm far too polite to do that, but I think it. I do. I have to be honest. I do think it, and it's definitely a thing.
Yeah. So having a self-care practice that involves taking care of your mind, your soul, your spirit, your mental health, your emotional health, your sex life, will allow you to be more productive. Actually, research shows that people who have more sex are more productive, they're happier, and they make more money. They are more successful.
I like that.
I
like
didn't say that. The studies out there are showing that.
I'm loving the money making is related to sex. I think it's sort of like, no, I've got to do this because Soribel told me to. It's research proves it, so I've got to. So there you go. That's really good. That's really, 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 really good. And on a serious note, you talked earlier, and I didn't know this, that you recovered from brain surgery. And you know, if you're happy to talk about that, that must have been pretty traumatic, and you know, you'd have to recover sort of a lot of things when you go through such a serious surgery. You want to tell us how that was for you?
Yeah, I always joke with my friend. I always says that my brain now is more valuable before brain surgery. It's more valuable
It definitely
now.
is. It definitely is. Definitely is.
So at the end of 2009, I was diagnosed with not just one, but 2 brain aneurysms. I had a frontal lobe aneurysm and a middle cerebral artery. There was an aneurysm as well. So I decided to go through the surgery, and I went to surgery September 24th of 2010. And that surgery, it was an 8-hour surgery. It was very delicate. It had a lot of risk. But in the process between when I was diagnosed and I had the surgery, I did a lot of mindset work. I did a lot of work around what was it that I wanted to manifest post brain surgery. Because in the beginning, when I was diagnosed, I was feeling very negative. I was thinking about death a lot. And when I went to see one of my friends who was a psychologist, he said, but you know this better than anybody else, that if you think you're going to die, you are going to die. So when he said that to me, he reminded me of that. I decided that death was not going to be my choice. If God wanted to take me, that was on God, but I was going to do everything possible to be alive. And I tell you that it was so magical, and it was such a amazing gift and miracle that God did for me, that I had surgery on a Friday. And just like I imagined and envisioned in all the work that I did, on Monday morning, I went home. That is unheard of. That is unheard of. It was such a miracle that after that, I became part of the board of the hospital to help improve services for brain surgery, you know, clients who have brain surgery or they had some stroke or whatever, because they just couldn't believe it that I walked out of that hospital on my own feet. And I contribute that to 2 things. One, God wanted me here because I was not done with the work that I needed to do in the world and the impact that I needed to make.
Absolutely not.
And second, I joined God in the co-creative process of healing myself and getting on my 2 feet. And when I tell you, I had the surgery and a month later, I was back to work.
Wow.
Back to work.
Well, I know that you are amazing, that you're an amazing woman, full stop, but that is amazing, and testament to you and your faith and the work that you need to do and the help that you give people. And I'm really glad that you were working with the board of the hospital because you could use your experience as a patient to help other people and to help the hospital with their services for people with brain surgery. So that's amazing.
Yeah. So, you know, it is a miracle to be here, and it's a miracle to continue to impact people in the work that I do. And for a lot of people, we talk about sex and we joke about it, but sex is really important in our lives. We were created sexual beings. And because of that, we deserve to have more of it and enjoy more of it.
Yeah, definitely,
Of
definitely.
course.
So, have you got a book that, I know you have got a book. You told me that you sent your last copy to your client, but I want you to tell the audience about the book that you recommend and that you use.
One of the books that I really love is Come As You Are.
Mm-hmm.
And Emily, oh my God, her last name is
Nagoski, yes.
Nagoski. And I think that every woman should read this book, because what it talks about is how you show up as yourself, just the way that you are, and how to embrace all of that. You know what I mean? I mean, it goes deeper, and honestly, I can't tell you all the details because I read so much. I can't, it's
Yeah,
like
I
I
hear
have so
you.
much
I hear you.
information.
Yeah.
But this book is amazing, and it also has the workbook that comes with it. And if you ever want to get deep into doing some work or reading something amazing, this book is the book that you should be reading. Come As You Are. As women, we are so expected to show up in so many different ways, and there's so many expectations, and there's so many rules, and there's so many, we are expected to do so much and perform in so many ways that a lot of time we forget to just show up as we are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we need to do. We need to understand that as we are good enough. We're good enough just the way we are.
Brilliant. I love that. And I'm going to be getting that book definitely. And I'll put a link to it in the show notes for both
Awesome.
YouTube and for the podcast. Do you have a gift that you would like to share with the audience?
I have a journal, and I have had some women like freak out after they hear the title of it. But if you can get past the hot sexy bitch mindset, you can really dig into the content and the mindset work that you should be doing for yourself, so you can really start this journey of having and enjoying more sex in your life. So this journal is a gift from me to you. You can go to the link, download it, read it, do the work, do the exercises that I share with you, and you will see how the fluids are going to start going places, and your mind is going to start going places. Because if you don't talk about sex enough, if you don't think about sex enough, you're not going to want to have sex. So we have to normalize all this communication, all these conversations about sex. I was telling my neighbor the other day, because every time I say the word sex, she feels like she's going to die.
Does she faint? And then, does she go, oh,
she wants to faint. And I'm like, don't faint yet. I still got more to tell you. So, you know what? Sex is a normal function word. It's okay for us to have this conversation, especially with our young kids, young girls and young boys. We need to have conversations about sex and what it means to do it and how it's safe to get it done. So the Hot Sexy Bitch Mindset Journal is for you. Download it, do the work. And I think you can start getting some ideas going there.
I am definitely downloading it, and it will be in the show notes, audience. So I download it immediately. And how can people contact you, Soribels? How can they work with you? What's the best way to get in touch with you and find out about the work that you're doing and to keep up to date with you?
I just recently launched my website, soribelmartinez.com. And of course, as you already can see, you are going to hear a lot about sex and orgasm. You're going to read about it. I intentionally did it that way so I can start triggering some of those thoughts and ideas about sex and pleasures in your mind. So it's very hot, it's very sexy, it's very juicy. Go there, learn more about me, who I am, the work that I do. And if you are like, you know what, I have to make a point to work in my sexuality, my sex life, schedule a discovery call with me. It's 30 minutes. We get on the phone. I get to ask you a few questions, learn more about you, what's going on with your sex life, what's not working. And then I get to make some recommendations about maybe one of my programs and how you can accelerate that orgasmic experience that you've probably been chasing for a long, long time.
Yeah, definitely. So I know Soribel, we were in a mastermind together. I've been to lots of events with her. She's an amazing, amazing woman. So I'd really recommend, and as you've heard, she's got lots of tips and wisdom to offer you. So I'd recommend that you get in touch with her, look at her website and download her journal. We are coming to the end of the show. So this has been fantastic. It's been so refreshing, so warm, so open, so honest. It's been absolutely wonderful. Is there one last tip that you would like to share with the audience before you go?
My only last thing that I want to say is always remember that you deserve more sex, more intimacy, and more pleasure in your life, and more orgasms. It's all in your birthright to have.
That's so amazing. You are amazing. Thank you so much for being my guest. It's so wonderful. I know you're traveling soon, and thank you for making the time to be with us today. And I know that it's going to get a really good reception when we put this show out in a few weeks' time. And that's it for the Dawn Jarvis show today. Thank you so much for being here. The show is brought to you by dawnjarvis.com and the Diverse Nurse Network. Take care, and hopefully we'll speak again soon. And you need to contact Soribel. She's got amazing things to say. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Dawn Jarvis Show. If you enjoyed this episode, there are 2 things you can do. Number 1, leave Dawn a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. It would mean so much to her if you took a moment out of your time to post your thoughts on the show. It will help Dawn reach so many more people and help them with their well-being. Number 2, subscribe to Dawn's email list, the Diverse Nurse Digest, using the link in the show notes. Until the next time, thank you and goodbye.